I'm not sure how to do that regular work. All right. Start all this stuff. All right. Hello. Welcome to Creators Hangout. I'm going to be hanging out with some awesome people tonight. I've got a bunch of people who are hanging out. It's going to be really, really cool. I'm going to bring them on in just a second. Thank you. We run this every Wednesday night that I have a campaign on, except for last Wednesday, because it was my daughter's birthday, and she's more important than you. So just deal with it, all right? I don't know what to tell you. It's just reality. But I've got a ton of people in here. I think they're all here already. So let me check. Yeah, they're all here just chilling. I should probably introduce them individually, but they're all here. They're just hanging out, just waiting in the background, doing their thing. So I'm going to go actually, I'll let them do it. I don't even want to do it. I'll let them go through. Guys, give me an introduction, just a 30-second, who you are, what you do, and what book we're talking about today. And I'll go through the whole thing and write all the stuff down we can normally do after. Daniel, we'll start with you.
I'm Daniel Calvin. I'm the writer-creator of American Dreams and of Night Raft, which is currently on Kickstarter, and that's the book I'm promoting. That's basically it. Night Raft is a 90s influenced anti-hero book about a man with no confidence, gets kidnapped by a bunch of mercenaries, experimented on, turns into a hulking force of brutality, which is fighting crime, and probably within himself, as his two different personalities are just waging war with each other.
All right, Rob.
All right, I'm Rob Malteri. I'm the creator and writer of Nightwolf and Snowpaw. I'm the founder of Lone Wolf Comics, and I'm here to promote my Nightwolf series as well as my story in Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. That's it.
Mr. Watson.
Hi, everybody. What's up? I'm Mike Watson, the publisher of Freestyle Comics, host of a little show called Chat and Draw. And I just funded on Kickstarter a little book called Vigilance. And we have a new book on there, a new title for one of our newest creatives who is actually next in line to introduce himself. So I will let him tell you about it because it's the book he made.
Hello, everybody. I'm Mr. Fish from Mr. Fish Comics. I'm just signed on with FSK recently. We have Green Zone Life in the Blocks at Kickstarter right now. Go MrFish.com, takes you right there. It is basically, like in short, it's Morlocks meets Training Day. It's a world full of people with superpowers. They lose their citizenship when they get found out to be a genome. They get shoved into the slums. And to work their way out, they have to prove they're not a threat to humanity and serve for 5 years. This follows new recruits to the police force as they try and earn their citizenship and get out of the blocks.
So, Peter.
Hey, I'm Pete Risette. I'm a writer and editor. Written stuff for the Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, as well as a zombie comic coming out called Freak Show Herald, set in Jonathan Hedrick's Freak Show universe. I also do edits on the Cthulhu Invades series, as well as Jonathan Hedrick's Quicksand, which is going to have an Ashcan. Issue 0 is coming out on jonathanhedrick.com on Friday.
Ooh. All right, Charlie.
Mute, Charlie. You're on mute.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. I'll try that real quick. Charlie Stickney, write the comic book series White Ash, currently on Kickstarter. It's Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Rings in rural Pennsylvania. Or imagine the guys from Supernatural got stuck in Riverdale, but rather than battling demons from hell, they had to deal with the worst of Mordor. And I'm really excited to be here and help promote everyone. I'm copping down different campaigns to make sure I'm backing everyone by the end of the show.
Hey everyone, I'm LK and Gino, writer and creator of Fangs and Foul Play, which is about a colonel who deserted the war and gets enthralled by a vampiric cat and is forced to continue to do more horrific things, as he deserted because he doesn't want to, keep doing those things. And I'm here to promote Cthulhu. Cthulhu is Hard to Spell and Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I have pieces with, there we go, Abby on both. Abby is the artist, and I'm pretty sure I have at least like 2 other anthologies coming to Kickstarter soon, but they're not on there now. So,
Abby.
Hi, I'm Abby, and I don't know the assignment because I'm late. I'm assuming we're talking about what we're working on right now, promoting. So Cthulhu is Hard to Spell and Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. I did art for both of them with LK. That's it.
It's a whole nice. Thing. It's confusing.
Yeah.
It is. It really is.
All right. So first things first, before we start, I have to talk to LK because she's going to be super excited.
I am. Okay.
I was at a store signing today with Danny, as you said. Actually, let's say hi to everybody before we do that. James, hi. Kat, hi. Kat says hi to Danny. George, hi. And also Kat. All right, let's bring Danny back up. So I'm at the store, and someone is buying your book, which I'm sure is super excited about. And they're talking about it, and they're like, well, why does she have blood on this fancy outfit? Like, it wouldn't work that way. And he hadn't opened it yet, and he had all these questions, and we encouraged him to buy the book to read it. But I was this close to calling you to address the situation. It was a big deal at the Collective in Orlando today. So I wanted you to know that your book is being talked about on the East Coast, even though you're West Coast.
All the way over there.
Yeah. That's it. I hate missing these stupid work. What's up, people? Out there? All right. So for those who've never been to Creators Corner, we do a few things a little different. I don't pretend that we don't do these to try to increase our pledges. I'm not going to pretend that we don't. We're going to have a good time. We're going to hang out. But I'm going to write down where everyone's at. And then if you don't get a pledge during this thing, we're going to beg to get you one because that's what I do. I don't care.
Sure.
So first, we're going to talk to Daniel. Daniel, let's look at where you're at. I'm going to bring you up right here.
I think we just got pledges a while ago.
Campaign real quick. Let's see. And so right now you are at 8,802 with 361 backers. That's looking pretty good. You got anything else you want to say about this before I move over?
Yeah. Well, you might get some guys might miss this announcement, but Gabe Santos, my artist on this, my co-creator, just got announced on a book with Wesley Snipes that's co-writing. And that news broke yesterday. And I'm really happy for him. And of course, they mentioned Night Raft in the comicbook.com article, but they spelled out Night Rave, so I'm like, ooh. They didn't even have they didn't even link the Kickstarter, so I'm like, darn it.
So, a quick question for you: do we have a stretch goal coming, or where are we at?
We just hit our 8.5 stretch goal yesterday, which would be our bookmarks.
Okay.
So 9.5 is going to be stickers.
Okay.
And our final one, which will be 10.5K, it will be a PDF of just the pencils.
Nice. Okay. Sounds good. All right. Let's go to Rob and talk to the other knight that happens to be doing some stuff, just spelled differently. Right? You've got this campaign. Wait, where'd it go?
It's hiding in the dark.
You got this one right here. This one is also doing very, very well.
And yeah, we just it looks like we hit our first stretch goal, which I need to reveal, which, since we're talking about it, it's metal covers for issues 1 through 6.
What? That is crazy.
So I'll be posting those tomorrow, since obviously I'm here. I won't be doing that now, and I won't be doing it after we're done.
And because you're a nice gentleman, that's free to everybody, right? It's going to be 6 metal covers for no. You heard it here first. 6 metal covers for everybody, right?
That would be as add-ons.
Oh, oh.
See, the way I do milestones and stretch goals are different than other campaigns. So milestones are all free. So when they hit a milestone, they get whatever free, either physical or digital. And then my stretch goals are a combination. There's either new add-ons that I can now afford at that point, or there's also free sneak peeks and then other freebies that come as things go. So it's kind of a mixed bag with my stretch goals.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right. Watson, you want me to pass this over to Mr. Fish?
Yeah, that's fine. Somebody else should talk besides me.
Well, don't worry. I like it when you talk. You're normally because you're drawing one of my characters at the same time. That's my favorite part. But
I know. I'm trying to expand this Freestyle Comics family.
Yeah, trying to get more of us doing more stuff. We just started late Monday night on Chat and Draw, and we're already halfway there, which is awesome. Got Project We Love, which made me happy because I've got it on all the other books I've been working on lately. And my OCD likes to keep everything lined up nice and neat. It's going well. We've got lots of cool covers. We've got variant covers by Stephen Butler from Marvel working on Web of Spider-Man and Archie and Disney and Sonic the Hedgehog, and got one from White Silva from Last Stop on Webtoons, which I freaking love. I had to buy the collection when it came out. And Yumi Spy Fatale. Got one that's fixing to be unlocked by Ryan Robinson. That's a painted cover that I did. We just passed. And you can actually get the actual 16 by 20 painting that's hanging up on my mantle right now. That's available in the Kickstarter. Lots of cool stuff. T-shirts, bookmarks, prints, all kinds of neat stuff.
I love it. All right, cool. Well, we'll try to see what we can do to help that along. Oh, we have a new guest with the last guest because we're going to be full. So anybody else who want to come cannot. Tim is here. How are you, Tim?
Hey, there he is.
Hey, what's up, guys? I am doing great. Thanks for having me.
Did that mess up my order here? I had a whole thing.
It shuffled the deck, yeah.
It did shuffle the deck. I don't like
the Brady Bunch.
I don't like that.
My goal is to make you symmetrical, Travis.
All right, let's get Peter on here. Peter, you're going to be, since the only thing you got is Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, you're going to be pitching that.
Yeah, sure.
So let's see where we're at with Cthulhu Invades Wonderland.
We're doing pretty good on Cthulhu Invades Wonderland right now.
Just for the record, to be honest, there's a couple of us that are on this book. Raise your hand if you're on this book.
That looks so good.
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I've being one of the proofreaders, I've had a chance to look at quite a few of the stories now, and it is coming along really, really great. I love it. I mean, I loved Oz too. I read it so many times before anybody else got a chance to. It was like an honor. And this is no exception. I mean, it just in true Orange Cone fashion, it's a trade, it's an anthology, but it's one story that reads from beginning to end. With many creators, obviously quite a few of them here on that. I'm not sure where we are with all of the.
We just unlocked a new stretch goal, backer goal, and we just unlocked the new stretch goal, which was adding 2 new stories, which is David Byrne and Brian Hawkins. So pretty good.
Nice. And you can even segue over into LK and Abby to talk about Cthulhu is Hard to Spell, because there's also a cross promotion and time is running out. They have to back both books and they can get bookmark, which I believe is right there. Yeah.
Yep, it's right there.
So you can back both of them in there. And of course, that one's one I've been trying to kind of put into because my daughter has artwork in it along with your wife.
Yeah. Let's talk about that campaign. We'll give you guys more time to go in depth in your campaigns, hopefully before this is over. But we've got a lot to go through tonight. I'm excited. I've got all sorts of surprises planned. So, Abby and LK, talk about this bad boy right here.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Yeah, you got 22 hours to get that bookmark, and I'm excited for it. It's just going in with all my other pile, but it's gonna look pretty, and I like it. So, yeah, we have a 6-page story in here. And it's called, are we talking about our stories now, or are we talking about just the campaign?
You can just talk about the campaign. We can get to your stories.
All right,
but we kind of just talk about the campaign because I'm writing down the numbers so we can make sure that we get increased pledges. We'll check in a little bit. And
as far as is known currently, this is the last in this. So you want in, you get in now.
Yeah, now's a good time to pick up all 3 of them.
Right here, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Tell me you don't want to see that sad face.
See if we can turn it into a.
Yeah.
All right.
Russell's like, we're done with this one. So this will be the last of the Cthulhu. It's hard to spell.
We'll see. We'll see. He's a stickler. Yeah, he may change his mind. All right, let's go to Mr. White Ash himself, Mr. Scout, Mr. MVP, Mr. I don't know all the things he does. He does so many things. Mr. Charlie Stickney from White Ash, one of my favorite books on Kickstarter, even before I knew him.
Well, thank you. That's a lot being thrown my way. I'll take a little bit of it. So quickly again, White Ash is grounded fantasy. Romeo and Juliet meets Lord of the Rings in rural Pennsylvania. We just unlocked a stretch goal, which is going to be another pinup for the book. We're going to announce the next stretch goal, which will be at 46, which will be a brand new cover from Romana Morinelli, who's going to be doing a second cover for this book. Because when she sent me some layouts, I said, I'm going to be greedy. I need you to do both of those. So I'm really excited about that and having the opportunity to do that. But the campaign's been great. And I'm always very thankful that the Kickstarter family is such a community and turns out to support each other. And, I'm just here to hopefully, do my part and give back a little bit.
Yeah. Wow, this is great. We've unlocked so many stretch goals here.
Yeah, it's doing well.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. And last but not least, we have my boy Tim here. Tim has a campaign going on. I got to look yours up because you were late.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
my
okay.
brother.
It's all right. Just gotta do it. So tell us about your campaign and who you are, since we don't know.
I am. I'm in the Cthulhu campaign too. I guess I should mention that. That's got 22 hours or 20 hours, I think, left on that one. And I'm also promoting Water Wars 2288, the post-apocalyptic sci-fi series that is taking America by chemical storm. I think I got 22 hours left on that one.
Okay, let's show that. And this one's very important to me to get 50 backers because someone said that he should get 29, and I said that was unacceptable.
Yeah, I think we got up our goal. I think I'm going to hit 150 here tonight.
Right. Well, that's important to me. So we got to get 150. We haven't got that yet with Water Wars. It's a great book, great series. So
it is so good. I love that series. I'm so excited. I got on the first day on this one.
Very good. So let's write down these numbers real quick.
147. Yeah, 3 more, buddy.
All right. 147. All right. Oh, see, it already upped before I even put it down.
That's right. Travis, you brought me good luck last time. I'm hoping for the same phenomenon this time.
So, hi, Kickstarter creators. Now that we've gone through all the cleaning house, how are you guys this evening?
Good.
Doing real good.
Fabulous.
Anything exciting to report before we go into some discussions?
I got my first con of the year coming up this weekend, Steel City. It's where it all began when I first started selling.
Nice.
So that's my good news.
Got my first big show this weekend as well. Fan Expo Philadelphia. We'll be out there, and me and a couple of the FSK fam.
Oh, Pennsylvania representing you, both sides.
I had my first ever, but that was past tense now, so it's over.
Nice.
Nice.
con set until July. I'll be Terrificon at Mohegan Sun in Connecticut. But I did just apply for New York Comic Con, so fingers crossed.
Yeah.
So
I
my next one's in
actually
June.
just got mail from Russell from WonderCon. Charlie was trying to get me I didn't reply to you. Sorry, Charlie. The Bloodstrike cover, and because Russell got it for me, and we had a crazy weekend. I apologize.
It's fine. It's fine. Just the next time you ask for a favor, I'm just saying.
Right.
Don't ask
Right.
more than one person.
You asked me for a favor next. All right, fair enough.
Yeah, Charlie, I'm sorry I didn't have a moment to come meet you in person.
Hey, Jerry.
I was actually just there for a panel because it was also it was my daughter's birthday that weekend, so I just came down. But if I know, were you in Artist Alley? Were you in
Small Press?
Small Press.
Did you get
Next
to see
time.
Mog there?
Next time, yeah.
Yes, I saw her. I did a very quick, because when you know a lot of people, you feel guilty if you don't say hello to a lot of people. So I'm just like, hey, we can have 5 sentences. Okay, I'll give you 6. But now I got to go to the next table and say hello and maybe buy a little something, because it was slow. At least what I saw on Sunday, WonderCon was super slow, and not as packed as I had seen it in the past. Where Small Press is usually slow and Artist Alley is bustling, but this time it looked like Artist Alley looked more like Small Press, and Small Press looked like something that people looked unhappy to be in.
That was not Saturday for Artist Alley. Artist Alley was packed on Saturday.
Good.
Yeah, or at least when I went over there and was trying to say a couple highs, I was like, oh my gosh, in and out. And Sunday was actually my best day, but that's because I finally actually started yelling at people.
You probably got into the groove too. You
Yeah.
got used to being there and found your rhythm.
Yeah, you're kind of killing me.
That's awesome. All right, so we got some cons coming up, so that's good. We've got 2 Kickstarters ending. We got Cthulhu's Heart, The Spells ending, and Water Wars. So you guys are going to be off. Water Wars. Tim, I feel like you just got online. Did you only do 3 weeks?
No, it was a month. Although
Okay.
I guess I'm going to consider that last time. I definitely experienced this scenario where the middle, I've always got that dead spot. So this was number 4. So I've noticed it pretty much every time for me. So I think I'm going to go to, was it Rob? Did you do 22 days?
Yeah, I do 22 to cut down that dead zone.
I also do 22. I just don't, except for first issues. Obviously, I give the first issues the full month, but any sub issues 22, I do it short.
Yeah.
I also keep it short because I wear my wife's patience very thin after a while. So doing 30 my first time around was testing her, testing them.
Right.
So
go ahead.
Go ahead, Tim.
I wanted to say I want to say thanks to the indie community too. I've had a lot of support from everybody in the indie community, particularly some of the people on this panel, and it means a lot to me, particularly in the Kickstarter realm. I was kind of the new guy, and now I'm pretty much, it's working every time. I got a little bit of a wheel turning. So I just want to say thanks to everybody for their support.
Hey, you put out a good book. If I like it, I'm going to contact you and tell you how much I like it, and I'm going to back it every time. I mean, I back a whole lot of books just because, we're friends and stuff, but that was one I really enjoyed. So I wanted to make sure you knew that.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We got a quality team. I'm kind of lucky to be here.
Yeah. So, all right. So we're going to come up with our first discussion, and this is going to be a tough one. So I'm going to throw you guys on the spot. It's a tough one. It's a dilemma that I'm going through that I thought you guys could help me alleviate. So I'm writing a book called The World Ends in 2012. And the premise of the book is the world ended in 2012, but only certain people recognize it. So the what is it called? The Mendoza effect. I can't say it right, but so they all believe it's gone back, and we're going to be exploring whether or not that's real or not through the series. Well, one of the things that when I started researching this, they talk about all the changes that's happened, because basically the belief of the structure is that in the world ended in 2012, and everything else we kind of got melded into another universe, or we're in an alternate or we're in a computer simulation, depending on the YouTube crazy conspiracy channel that you go down. But one of the talks in it that I think would be interesting to put in the book, but it could get me into dicey situations, and this is what we want to talk about, is they talk about the transgender movement and the LGBTQ movement really kicking up over the last few years. And whether or not I should bring that up, because I'm a supporter of the LGBTQ community, but it's also could be really good for writing to say that's why these genders are different, why this gender initiative is so forward, because we're in a different kind of time zone or a different state of mind than we were in 2012. So I'm throwing something heavy out to you guys. What do you guys think? What should I do? Solve this problem. Michael Watson, go.
I think you should definitely add it in there and have it happening in your world. I don't think that you should use it being a different mentality, different verse as a reason of why these things are popping off, because then it kind of looks like you're only added it in there as an excuse, and this is your easy out for making it happen.
Right.
I think you should write it in there and it just be a thing that is happening and the thing that you deal with in your story.
Okay. Anybody else? Rob.
So what if instead of being directly, speaking to that, like taking the same idea but changing the, thinking it's not the LGBTQ, but like a different like thing that's you could kind of make it like allude towards it,
right,
but call it a different situation, so that way you're not directly, because you could potentially be taking fire, even though you're trying to be supportive of it. It could not come out wrong, and you don't want that to come out the wrong way. So if you change it slightly where it seems similar to like the same kind of idea, but like a different effect or a different, something that just kind of gives it some kind of illusion towards it.
Now, I know I just met you, Rob, but I'll have to rebuttal you there a little bit, buddy. I feel like doing a thing like that shortchanges what you're trying to say about the driver or trying to be inclusive in those people. If you're going to use that, if you're going to use transgender and LGBTQ, then go ahead and use it. Don't water it down or anything like that, because everybody and their mama will be like, well, the X-Men are about black people. It's about racism. Yeah, that's cool, but why don't you just make it black people? Right. So it takes away from yeah, that's cool that there may be similarities to it and stuff like that. And a lot of us believe and see it as that has a lot to do with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and black versus white and things like that. But if there aren't a mass amount of people of color in that cause, then it loses its effect. So, and obviously you can do what you want, Travis. You're a great writer. I respect you. I love you. But I think if you're going to do it, then you do it. You don't shortchange the movement.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting concept to discuss because not just because of my issue that of whether or not I want to write it, but I know that there's a creator who I'm not going to put him out there, even though he posted on his own Facebook, who had a similar situation. He's writing a character who's Hispanic. He's a black creator, and they attacked him and said, "Hey, why aren't you writing?
Why are you making a white character?"
Right. Yeah. But in my story, I think it could be an interesting, thing to play with, of things that people are thinking, anything that you can make true, can make someone believe truth. But I also never want the LGBT community to not think that I don't support them. Right. So, so that's tough too.
That's a delicate line to walk, especially if you're not a member of that community.
Sure, yeah, even more so.
Like my first comic I put out was about a superhero with Tourette syndrome, and that's easy for me to do, and I can make jokes and make it funny and make it poignant because I have Tourette syndrome.
Right.
If you made that book, that's not quite so funny. And, it would be real easy to inadvertently make mistakes with the best of intentions that would feel ableist and all kinds of other things and ruffle feathers. So I was worried I was going to get canceled by my own community making that comic. And, I was glad it was received as well as it was. But, it's a tricky line to walk without, being in that walk.
Okay.
So one of the general rules of advice or pieces of advice, it's not really a rule that I hear, is that use diverse characters, use whatever you want, but like that story, like their story, like for example, say like it wouldn't really be fitting for me to write about a gay guy coming out, like, 'cause that's not my story, you know.
Sure.
That's not something that I've experienced. I mean, not to say that like it couldn't be somehow like, I don't know, maybe a small thing, but not like the whole tale. It's not, I'm not close enough to it, I guess, maybe.
Writing a compelling gay character in your story is one thing. Writing
Yeah.
a definitive story about what it means to come out is
Thank
a
you.
whole different thing.
Yes. Yes.
Charlie, and I think go ahead, Charlie.
Well, I was just going to say, it's also like, why would you make that choice? Like when you look at something like, say, Why the Last Man, this was a post-apocalyptic story, but it was all about gender, right?
Right.
And so, you know, if you're doing an examination of gender, you should be doing an examination of the spectrum. If you want to include trans characters, include trans characters.
Right.
But if you have a post-apocalyptic story about how things have changed, turning your focus on trans characters, like it does open up a can of worms.
Sure.
Because, you know, like the question is, why are you making that the focus of the story? You know, are you saying there's something now abnormal about the world or different about the world? Does that mean trans characters can't exist in a normal world? I mean, so like it brings you down a path of discussion. So like for me, I think if you have, you know, it doesn't matter whether it's, you know, a trans character, a gay character, a character of color, you know, a character who, you know, has some disabilities. It's about writing and putting characters in that are intrinsic to the story that you're telling.
Sure.
And as long as it's, you know, the character is needed for the story you're telling, it will work. But if you start trying to fit the story to match a character, then I think that's when you start going down a dark path. So, you know, think about what the intent is of your story. And if it calls for that kind of character, then, you know, it just becomes natural.
Sure.
Before I get to you, Daniel, Charlie, there's another question, and I know that maybe you could speak to this. You have, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I think David told me that you guys have either at Scout or you directly have had sensitivity, like people who read for sensitivity, correct?
I mean, I've utilized that in the past, and so has David. You know, I think, you know, for me as a writer, if I'm writing something that's outside my comfort zone, sometimes I like to get another set of eyes on it that has a different perspective than me, so we can bounce things back and forth.
Wendy, I do see the comments. I'll get to it in just a second. Daniel, go ahead.
I was about to bring up the idea of a sensitivity reader because just to be like, if you're unsure, like if you're this level of uncertainty, you might want to pass a sensitivity reader from that community, from the LGBTQ community, especially if it's a transgender character, just to make sure you're on the right path and not potentially, you know, veering away, which might cause, you know, a whole bunch of chaos too. And so, because it's definitely going to be a bit of a tightrope walk.
Sure.
Given, you know, how, you know, inflamed people can get. So maybe hiring a sensitivity reader to go over that chunk of script would be of use.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I just, again, I love to bring crazy discussions up here. You know, I haven't decided what I want to do particularly, you know, and again, the goal is that the world's different from 2022 to 2012. So what's the big differences? And one of that is to not touch on that would be dissensitive to me. But I also, if I do touch on it, I'm implying that because of this nature of the story, because I'm implying that 2022 is wrong, that I could get in a fine rope. So I just wanted to bring it up as a discussion.
I gotta say, my idea that first comes to me with that whole thing would be the idea that we are all dead now, and people suddenly have the freedom to be what they were feeling on the inside, and they're no longer limited by physical bodies and stuff. And it's easier to express that now than it was when we were trapped in bodies before, which might be able to put a positive spin on it as opposed to, you know, a negative connotation. But that's just my first idea. Somebody in the comments could probably pick that apart and find out why that's insulting. But, you know, it's my idea.
Another possibility is if you look at the actual Mayan cosmology mythology, it's more of a beginning of a new cycle.
Sure.
So if you could pull that into fore somewhat. Maybe it's the cycle of people.
Thank you, Wendy. That was a good point.
It was good fish. Wendy says, do you think that writers have to adhere to a current agenda when it comes to their stories to remain relevant, or is it still acceptable to write whatever you really want?
I said both.
Both.
And it depends on your
I
audience.
said, like, I mean, comic books have been, and despite some argument of people's attitudes about it, comic books have been writing about politics and the way of life since comic books have come out. It's just something that has always been done. But you should also write stories that naturally come to you and that you want to explore and that you want people to share with and things like that too. I mean, we're doing a bunch of stories, and the last couple years since Black Lives Matter has come out, or been more and more seen publicly. We wanted to do a story specifically like that, but I also didn't want to stop the stories we had going on with Hotshot at that moment. So we're finishing up that arc, and then we're going to do that story because we feel like a story like that should be told and should be explored. But we also found what we felt was a good reason to explore that type of story with our character Hotshot as well. So I think you should do both.
Well, quick follow-up question to that to you, Mr. Watson, to get that out. So when Spider-Man stopped to do the 9/11 special in the middle of their story to do that, do you feel that was the right call? They should have waited, or do you feel that's a completely different situation? And that's just a feedback question, not necessarily putting you on the spot.
No, I feel like that was the absolute right thing to do because they can afford to do it. I can't.
And they're based in New York too, which is a
that
whole
story
thing.
was amazing. And like Fish said, they're based in New York, and them stopping all presses to focus on that to help heal their city through comic books and story. I still have that book in plastic. It is gorgeous and terrible and sad and beautiful all at the same time. So if I had the budget, I would have stopped and did it, but I don't. So I got to be financially safe.
Wendy says, John, do you know you strongly resemble Jon Stewart?
As people to resemble, there are much worse. So I'll take it. When I was younger and I had big curly hair, I used to get Gene Wilder. But if I've transitioned from Gene Wilder to Jon Stewart, again, I'm on a decent trajectory. So,
people are taking you seriously now, if nothing else.
I apologize. I didn't mean to. I think she meant the Green Lantern, Jon Stewart. I apologize.
And now we're back to that staying in your lane in terms of what you write and what you don't write. So there, I will say that maybe that crossed the line. But I know which Jon Stewart I closer resemble.
Closer resemble. Ooh, a part of Amazing Creators.
Hi, Krista.
Good point, Fish. See, Wendy says good point.
Yep, she knows.
Neff, I can do it. Saying we're all dead is
vitophobic.
Wait, but Wendy. All right, so that was our first discussion out. That was the tough one. I apologize, but I sometimes hit you with the big ones because that's what I do.
Oh, we can go deeper. Come on.
We can go deeper. All right. Let's do I'm going to do a quick check-in on everybody's campaign, and just see how everybody's doing real quick before we get into the next subject. Everybody feeling okay? Everybody good?
Yep.
Real good.
Got my Buffy blanket now, so.
Your Buffy blanket. Who's on the Buffy blanket?
I haven't even looked at it. I got one of those mystery boxes, and I got a blanket and a mug and some other goodies, so.
All right.
I know Buffy's on it. I think Angel, other people.
Do you not want listeners to join in? No, we want you to join in. Come on. Comment. I think I responded to your stuff. Let's see. Oh, he sure did say a couple things. All right. No, leave it be. Too many people can take it the bad way, and people see what they want to, not necessarily what they want them to. That's a good point.
They do.
George says, is there going to be a comic book? Yes, that's going to be a comic book. I'm making it with my Substack.
Those are good points, but that's not everybody. Like, I'm a wrecker of conversations. You need to put stuff out there because if you don't talk about it, then it's not going to get talked about. Then things don't get changed or things don't get fixed, and no one gets uncomfortable because everyone's afraid to be uncomfortable. And we need to talk about those type of things. You can't just keep shoveling them off to the left, and we'll eventually get to that or whatever. Whether it is,
it won't get got to.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
whether
at the
it's
same
Oscar
time,
or
like if Will
any-
Smith showed us anything, people are in a big hurry to get pissed off and take sides and block half of their friends list. Like people are so anxious to get angry about stuff now that they're looking for any excuse. I
Right.
can't see how that event was any of my business to get in and comment on, but everybody is blocking and unfriending people for it.
No, that is true.
I mean, and that's a great point because that's a good conversation that needs to be had about mental health because there is something going on there and he is not
Oh, there's-
exploring it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like there's mental health stuff going on with a lot of people though that nobody's talking about. It's not Will Smith.
Mhm.
It's
No, I'm
not
just
Will
saying that
Smith,
that's a
it's everybody.
point to.
I'm going to therapy tomorrow. So
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's a point to bring it up with
I went
mental
this
health
morning.
in general.
Absolutely.
And
Right.
like that's what it looks like when you don't discuss it, when you don't have conversations about it.
When you don't heal and deal with it, and
Yeah, no, it was tough, and in our family we talked about it, and tried to different ways. And I was like, honey, depending on the day, I may be willing to do the same thing, like, because I'll defend you and love you. But that doesn't mean it's not wrong. Right? It just means that I may be willing to do that. So, all right. So let's check in everywhere. All right. So I'm just going to go through. You guys don't need to see them on the screen because that takes a minute. Cthulhu Invades Wonderland has gone up by one backer. Grats, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland. It's 36,721 from 36,652. So grats, Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, which is my book, so I'm super excited about it.
Congrats.
Cthulhu is hard to spell. Let me refresh. We still need some support over there. Apparently, people don't want to get that bookmark because we're exactly where we left
Why
off.
do you
And-
people hate freedom and puppies?
And we should all know that it's my birthday tomorrow, so
come on, people, it's her birthday.
It's her birthday.
You can spare a little cash.
White Ash has probably raised $85,000. No. It is where it's left off. So White Ash needs some love. She needs some more love.
It does not need love. It's doing okay.
Actually, it was really funny. I was on my show with Tyler last week, and we were doing it, and you had just launched that day. And I was like, but I'm beating Charlie right. Never mind. And that was the conversation. I was like, I'm still doing no, sorry.
Like watching the Roadrunner fly by.
All right, Night Wrath. Need some love. Got to get some night love. Let me refresh and make sure. Yep, need some love. Mike Mickle. What we got? We've got the green zone here. It needs some love.
Though I will admit, it went up $10 right before you showed it. So somebody.
Well, that's all right. We've got to share it out. I want more than $10.
Absolutely.
Nightwolf needs some love. Same where it's been. And Waterworld. No, Waterworld's doing fine. It's getting more stuff all the time. Good job,
Little
Waterworld.
by little. Keep going, man. Keep going.
We're at 148. I want to get that to 150. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to share these through the chat as we do stuff. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry says happy birthday. Jerry's a great a reader of comics here locally. Oh, we've got Australia in the house. Shattered Glass comic reviews. Yay for Lone Wolf Comics. Let's go.
Let's go.
So, Charlie, so a lot of us have cross promotions going on. So, Charlie, you have a cross promotion with Nightwolf, and I have a crossover with Nightwolf. Both are amazing prints.
Yeah, absolutely stunning.
Really, really good. So I'm excited to get both those prints, which is really, really cool. What are you? And then I know that Cthulhu Invades Wonderland and Cthulhu Is Hard to Spell has a crossover. So there's some crossover there. Tim, do you have a crossover with anybody?
I have, the digital bundle stuff, which I have, I have actually several of the people in this room I have some kind of thing going with, but I don't have anything sort of official like that.
Okay. All right. How about the FSK team? They kind of do a lot of inside stuff. Do you guys got some crossovers?
I've been talking with a couple of people.
Yeah, last night we did on Chat and Draw show. I drew one of the covers that will be on one of his variant covers on there of one of the main characters. And I know Fish has a couple more planned this month for next couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, what do you got? You got any crossovers?
Not this time around. I might do it maybe for American Dreams Volume 1 this summer. It's probably a little too late for me now to do a little bit of a crossover item. Unfortunately, it could be like it's like what 8 days to go.
Right.
Again next Thursday. So
let's start. Rob, tell me about what makes you decide to do these, and if someone was to approach you that they wanted to partner with, how does that work? Can you kind of go through your process? I know you came to me. I don't know if you went to Charlie.
So usually it's been that I've been approaching everybody who I've done a crossover with. It's either because I'm a fan of their work and want to be a part of it, or like we're good friends, and or both. And for me, it was like also seeing who's running at the same time and who we can, if like there's more than a week, obviously it has to be like, plenty of time where you can, it's fair to both parties too, to be able to make it so that like, you can promote both sides of it. And, and I just love doing the crossovers in general. Like for me, I always get like really like fanboy whenever I see a crossover in like a comic or a crossover in a TV show, so like for me, that's something that I do want to do is actually do a crossover comic. But right now these prints are kind of like the first step in my mind to doing such a thing. Because I could see, like, for example, I could see Nightwolf somehow being thrown into Wonderland and riding a Bandersnatch. Sure. I could see, because, Charlie and I even said, his story and my story both take place in Western Pennsylvania. It's not very far-fetched for them to somehow cross paths with similarities, being fantasy and horror mixtures in there. So it's not like a far-fetched idea that it could happen. And then like, my last campaign with Snowpaw, I did one with Wes Hartman for his Sasquatch. So it was like the Sasquatch, Bigfoot versus Snowpaw, so it was it's fun, seeing books that I enjoy mixing with my books and, just coming up with some great art. And I often have my artist, Carlos, do it because I just love seeing his art. So the more art he can put out, the happier I am.
True that. Anybody else have anything or something you're thinking about for the next Fang or anybody else have any comments on this?
I got no ideas because I don't know who's launching at the same time. So to find out as it gets closer.
I think Rob's right that, if you can do enough prep ahead of time, it's something that's really great to be able to do. And, and it's a way to get your backer pools to merge a little bit more. And if Rob ever asks you, say yes, because, you're going to get a beautiful version of your character. And, that's just really nice as a creator to see another artist's take on your character and have it be a great one. I know for me, I'm really honored that he asked to do them with White Ash, and it looks beautiful.
That's something that's been so wild for me on this book because I'm always the illustrator, so I'm always the one doing that. And this is my book, so I drew the whole thing. But seeing other people do variations of my characters has been so much fun. And now I see why my clients are always so excited to get stuff from me, because I'm like, oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. I can't wait to see how they come out. And like Ryan did this pinup for me, Ryan Robinson. My character Bellamy's covered in these quills all over her body. Like, she's one of my favorite characters in the book because just you can see it in her body language. She's always afraid because just bumping into somebody can get her a felony charge and send her to prison because, if she sticks a human, she's in big trouble. And he just made her look fierce and beautiful. And it doesn't even look like the comic book version of her. It looks like a portrait of the lady that played her in the movie. Like, it's so beautiful. And I can't quit bragging about it. It's so much fun.
Well, and I always think prints are really easy, right? There's a low cost for everybody to get involved. It's a lot harder than doing these major crossovers because we've seen that as well in indie communities, which are great. But, it takes a lot less interaction, right? Do you like this pose? Do you not like this pose? It's not like, is this character speaking in your voice? I need to make sure it's right.
Add a mushroom. That was so when we were putting together the Cthulhu Invades Wonderland Nightwolf crossover. That was Travis's only thing. Add a mushroom.
Wonderland. It's Wonderland. We got to add a mushroom. So I think that's great. So we've got 3 artists here, and the rest of us are writers. So question for you guys, for the artists in the room. If someone wanted a pinup or a cover, what is the best way to approach it? Is it best to just like outright ask your rate, commission? Is it better to build a relationship first to kind of make the character? What do you guys prefer? Do you prefer like a little whining and dining, or do you like let's get down to business?
This is my
I
job.
actually like to know a lot about the character beforehand, but like sometimes if people approach me, like if it looks like a really cool character, then it's something that that I feel like I can get behind, then it's super easy to just take that. But sometimes with other people, I'm like, tell me more about their backstory. Let me read a little bit, and that just like helps me like generate ideas for like what I want to do with it. And I think with that, it allows me to add more emotion to it. And just like, I like all of the emotion from it. Like, that's my favorite thing about drawing and doing comics and everything, is all of the emotion. So the more that I know about it, the easier it is for me to just really like get into it.
Not me. Pay me and I'll do it. I mean, I want to make it good. I want to know as much about the character because I dig the emotional stuff too. Like adding those beats into the story are my favorite part. Like, seeing somebody's heart break in the background. Oh, it's juicy and I love it. But like, just hit me up and ask me. I mean, the biggest thing for me now is just scheduling. Like, when do you need it by is the thing I need to know before we talk price.
Oh, I'll definitely just do it for money. 100%.
Absolutely.
But like, I'll get into it if I know more about it.
Yeah.
Like, if you pay me, sure. Fuck it. I'll do it. I don't care. But the more I know, the more I calls.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I would say I have to lean a little bit more towards what Abby's saying. Luckily, I do a show where people actually come on and I get to draw their characters. The cool thing about that is unless it's a big piece where I'm drawing like 5 or 6 characters on there, I normally don't sketch or lay out anything until I get on the show with the guest. And as I talk to them, I find out stuff about their characters. I find out stuff about the guest, and that I've noticed that pours into me while I'm drawing the piece. And then sometimes people come over onto the show and show me the covers that other artists have drawn for them. I'm like, oh, I got to blow that shit out the water now. So, all right. So now I got to dig in deep and really get into it. But I do enjoy finding out about the character and having that conversation, because it's something about talking to the person and hearing their excitement and hearing their story and their journey that helps me put more energy into the piece.
Yeah, I'm such a story-driven person. I love that. I love it when I get to hear about like the personality of your character. I love that. But money's cool too, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Like, I've also been on the other end where it goes too far, and you get a novel of backstory and 10,000 reference pictures and stuff. And I'm like, all right, I just need to know what I'm just drawing and flying in the air. Like, this isn't like,
you don't make up like a headcanon story. You don't come up with your own character and they start making out and stuff. Like, you don't do stuff like that.
I'm just drawing your character. I mean, like, I have had trouble when I'm doing books. Every once in a while, I will get my own ideas about what's going on, and every once in a while, I'll add something in and have to take it out later because, like, it wasn't in the story. I just kind of assumed that it was because that's how I read it, how I envisioned it. And so every once in a while, I've got to go back and edit that, but not very often. And sometimes I'll just flat out change something and show it to the writer and be like, I think this is better, but I did it on my own, so I will change it if you don't like it. I just wanted to show it to you so you could see it. And like 10 times out of 10 so far, they've liked it and we've stuck with it. But, I'm totally willing to change it if you don't like it because I took a chance. But, if I think it's going to make the story better, that's better for all of us.
before I go to you, okay, Wendy, if you're listening, we have a message from Peter. Make sure you read it. It's in the Facebook message. There it is. Okay, go ahead. You're on mute.
That's right. I have a mute on my microphone and then the mute on here. So yeah. I was gonna say, can I show you guys the print? Abby did a watercolor for me for Fang, and I had it at the convention. If she lets me, if she's okay.
No, it's fine.
Okay, I gotta go off camera so I can like dig this out real quick because
oh my gosh,
otherwise you're gonna see my.
I feel so slow on watercolor right now.
I was like, Abby, I need this like now. Sorry for the last minute.
Yeah, she gave me 2 days.
I won't do it again. I promise. I swear.
I was like, I'm doing something for Travis too. Oh my god.
You're all good. You're all good. So those are great. Actually, I want to tell a story. You know, if it's okay with Mike, can I tell the story about what I did for Hotshot?
You're muted.
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's fine.
I thought he was leaning back, just thinking about it, being like,
That's what I thought.
I am publisher of FSK. Let me think about this. You know, so because we're in these situations where artists can always like, I love it when an artist just sends me a fan art or whatever, and 9 times out of 10 you'll get your fan art in a book if you send me something, because I love fan art. But I wanted to give back to Michael Watson because he's such a great member of the community. He does the chat and draws and stuff like that. And prior to, like, you did it for like 3 years without pay, and most of the people still don't pay, but like there was a pay system. I don't even know if we're paying now. I don't know if we are or not. So I just don't want to assume we are or not. But so I decided to write him a script as payment to kind of do what the artists do. So I was like, here's a Hotshot script. I hope it doesn't offend you. I asked him first, but
I am obviously not offended by that. Danny and I immediately worked it into the Hotshot schedule. It is 12, 13, 14. It is Hotshot number 15. It'll be the first story that we do for Hotshot in 2023.
Nice.
Yeah, we actually moved some things around, doing all these Kickstarters that we've been doing, and we're trying to figure out how we want to get these stories out. And we wanted to get yours out sooner, so we're finishing my arc this year, and then we're going into Danny's and then yours.
Nice. Yeah, but I think writers need to think like that too. You know, it doesn't have to be a full script like I gave for Hotshot, but I mean, most people could get, hey, if you really like someone's universe, ask them and write a 4-page backup. You know, they may use it, they may not, but
dude, everybody that's read the previews of my book Green Zone is freaking loved it, got all excited about it. Eric Foster from Unlikely Hero Studios, like Lori helped me do some edits. He checked it out. He suddenly sent me like 3 different versions of like dialogue for the video that I was doing for my Kickstarter. And what he wrote was so much more interesting. Like I was reading it as a narrator explaining to you how the world was, and he's writing it from somebody in the Green Zone's perspective. So I looked at what he wrote, and it was just great, and it was hurtful and painful. So like I chopped that up and shuffled it and used the whole thing, and I absolutely love that he was so excited that he sent that to me. That was a wonderful gift. Absolutely do that if you're a writer.
Well, yeah, I mean that's how I ended up doing Freak Show Herald too. I was looking for something to do, and I was, kind of trying to give myself a bit of a challenge to write something in a very short period of time. And I was thinking of a zombie story, and I thought, oh, this would fit in really well in Jonathan's little universe. I'll just send it to him and say, hey, check out what I did thing. And he was just, hey, let's make this happen. So.
Well, and I know, Daniel, you're working on an anthology. I have some ideas. I still have.
Yeah, it's in the nascent. I did basically could be letting people play my American Dream sandbox, somewhat. With being, so they get to play with my characters, historical figures, and and I'll kind of be like, make it all mesh like we're doing with Cthulhu Invades Wonderland by having letters between Houdini and Tesla, basically talking about the characters. I'll throw in some of my shorts as well. And speaking of fan art, I've gotten some fan art from Night Wrath during this campaign, so it's been like, yes. Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Rob, you're thinking about doing an anthology at some point too, right? I know you're going to do the same thing for Volume 2 that you did for 1.
Yeah, so not a full-on anthology, but like kind of like with where you participated in doing the short epic in Nightwolf Volume 1, along with Tyler, Kevin, and Madeline. So each volume, each 4 issues that collected will then have kind of a similar like injection of like director's cuts, if you will. So yeah, I think I've liked doing that. Eventually, I might, once I have more of my universe open up. I was actually thinking about doing like with the different titles that I want to do, doing a kind of an anthology, of that universe and letting others play in it a little bit more.
I think for your book, doing an annual would be kind of cool, because you get enough characters for like an annual, the Marvel annuals that they do once a year or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, going back to that, they have the money to do that.
Hi, Peter. Peter, do you have anything you want to say before you leave about Emily, about how awesome I am? Anything, really?
Well, how awesome Emily is. She's in both Cthulhu Invades Wonderland and Cthulhu is Hard to Spell 3. So pick up both books. You get a great bookmark. You not only get great stories and art from the great Heather Gibb and
Right.
Emily Risette, as well as LK and Abby are in both books. And go to JonathanHedrickComics.com on Friday and pick yourself up in issue 0 of Quicksand.
Can I just have one of your comps?
One of my what?
Comps? Do you get comps? Jonathan give you comps?
I actually haven't gotten my issues 2 and 3 yet from him. Kind of like with you, I have to drive to my house now. I told you you didn't have to, you didn't have to pay for shipping. Just drive it here. So I know he's been busy.
Yeah, but is shipping more expensive than gas at this point? Or no, is gas more expensive than shipping?
Not for how far away we all live from each other. We're all like basically within one township of each other.
So I'm going to rant about, you can go, but I'm going to rant about Jonathan Hendrick because I love the guy, but he mails me. He sees me once a month minimum. Most of the time, twice a month. He refuses to hand it to me like I do him, and makes me feel super guilty that I have to mail his. And he's just like, I can't handle it. I just got to ship it out. I was like, no, just.
I'm just waiting for him to send me a message and say, I dropped it off at Kingdom like a month ago.
Right. I don't care what the case is. Just we see each other enough. It is unnecessary. Like, I don't take the extra $5 for shipping or whatever it was. It's fine. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always say when I back it with you guys, just drop it off sometime or leave it at one of the comic shops and tell me. But yeah, I will. I think I'll get a copy of issue 0 probably, but
I claim
it's pretty limited. Pretty limited run. There's only 100, so you have to get in quick.
I just claimed your creator copy, so I'm good there. You should buy one on Friday.
Yeah, I'll contact Heather and see if I can't get her to buy one. I'll slip into DMs and
what?
Get her to buy me a copy.
All right. She probably would with all your proofreading and editing services. So probably, yeah. All right, thank you, Peter.
Thank you guys. You guys will go.
By the way, I go for like another hour. So if anybody needs to go, like that's cool. Like
I'm gonna get another 20 minutes.
You gotta go, okay?
No, I got the print. I was doing the print.
Oh, you got the print. All right.
I can
Let's
see
see
the computer.
Let's see the print first.
I don't feel like you can see. There, there.
Oh, that's cute.
Vampire Kitty.
It's very cool.
I need
That's
to
2-day watercolor, guys.
Mr. Watson,
I will give more lead time next time.
Michael, you gonna go?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take off. I really wanted Fish to meet all of you guys, and so you can hear about his being the fastest pencil in the West and this.
Let's see if he's raised any money since we
creator.
started. He still needs money, guys.
He does.
Ain't no love for Green Zone.
Nobody loves Green.
Ain't nobody got no love for the mutants and the genomes and.
All right, well, you can go, but we're gonna have to highlight this apparently because you guys didn't want to go back it. Now you're gonna have to see all about it, so that's fine.
I just want to say I can't wait for that one. I'm a Green Zone. Nice job, guys.
I appreciate it, man. I'm so excited about it. It's going to be awesome. I'm excited because I can't wait for everybody to get to read it and get to see the world. And everybody gets so excited about it. Like my buddy Tony that writes 5-star for FSK that I illustrate, like he couldn't help but write stories for this because he got so excited about it. And I love that.
That is true. I've read those stories as well because he's already pitched them to me.
What is it?
It's called Green Zone. And look at this. Look at this. What kind of lizard is that called?
He is basically a giant horny toad. He's like 8 foot tall. In this image here, where he's like half the size of that cop, he's 5 years old. And, he's a giant. And his mutation just basically makes him scaly, and his only the only real power he has is a fear reflex that when he gets really terrified, the blood vessels in his eyes burst and blood shoots out and he wets his pants. That's it. Like, he can't shoot fireballs or fly or be bulletproof. He's just ugly and has high blood pressure.
And cries a lot.
Yeah. And he sounds like he's growling, but he really gets stopped up because he can't breathe and it sounds like he's growling. And, that whole thing is taken right out of my life. That whole experience with him. Like, he says no, sir, to those cops, and they take sir as an insult because they think he's making fun of them. And I nearly got shot by a cop in the middle of the night one time because I knew when he stopped me, I was going to jail, and I just didn't want to go with broken bones. So I tried to be as polite as I could be. And every time I said no, sir, to him, he got madder and madder and unholstered his gun. And if the Wendy's hadn't got robbed right that minute, I would have gotten shot. And so there's lots of my life ends up in this book. But people like him, that are born different, end up getting shoved into those giant overbuilt ghettos, the blocks. And the only way you can get out is to prove that you're not a danger, because the humans view you as a nuclear bomb just waiting to go off. You are a supervillain waiting to happen. And, until you prove that you're not, that's the way they're going to view you. And nobody talks about how hard the system is to get through, how few people actually make it. Like in the lineup there, the little short, chubby lady, she's one of the training officers. She's like right close to the edge of getting out. She's got a few more months and she gets out, and she does not want anybody messing that up for her or getting her shot in her last couple of months on the shift, and then she's out. Some people get on the police force and like it and stay their whole career. You get to see how the humans treat them like, security guards and disrespect them like they're not really people. Their own kind look at them as race traitors, and it is a no-win situation to be in. But if you want to try and better your life, it's the only shot you got. And so they take it.
I love all these alt covers, man. I think they're great. I think they're really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Though I do think, I'm going to say this, I think your main cover is the strongest. Your cover that you did, I think it's the strongest.
I drew that thing like a year ago too, and I've used it in so many advertising things since, trying to get attention up for this. I drew most of the book a year ago, and just been waiting. Got signed on with FSK, and there's so many other people that signed on, and so many books coming out one after another through FSK. Been waiting for my chance to get so we could do our Kickstarter and get it going. And the second book is just almost completely finished. The third book is started. The 10th book is written. Like, I'm ready to take this thing full steam once it gets out there and people get a hold of it.
That's awesome. And one of the things I want to say about the FSK universe, and since you're still here, Michael Watson, so everything is connected. That's why we have the verses. It'll make sense at some point, right? Like, so we're there's a reading order, and that it all makes sense at some point, whether or not that's 2 years, 3 years, whatever. We're indie creators, it could be 20 years, but it will all make sense at some point, right? You got it all lined up. You're muted.
Oh.
Hi, December.
Yeah, they're all our stories are connected. with the exception of Spider Squirrel, they probably have the loosest connection, but they also have the easiest connection for us to slide in there. But Fish's story was the hardest one to come up with the connect. But I don't know. I think it was like our third or fourth conversation about it. It just hit us, and we found the way forward to connect. It's very unique, and it is one of our stretch goals. If you hit the stretch goals, we will be able to put that story into 11-page short that you'll get to see how it's connected. But it's a very cool thing that I'm not going to reveal because I don't want to spoil it. But you'll be able to see Green Zone in some way in all of our FSK books. Y'all like, what the hell does that mean? Just get the books.
You have to pick them up and find out. But yeah, I mean, Green Zone is its own universe, but it is not disconnected completely. And it's gonna.
Sure.
There's plenty of room for cool things to happen down the road. And there's so much crazy stuff in Green Zone that, anything can happen. Because, I mean, they do live in a world that has lots of people have superpowers. There are aliens living there, cyborgs, monsters, all kinds of things. And, we're just seeing a different aspect of that world. You're following the cops that are doing crowd control when they're fighting the giant alien in the middle of the city. And, when somebody in a mech suit breaks into a bank and is crushing cars, you're seeing them trying to rescue people out of those cars and, trying to help people in a terrible situation. And, there's so much I want to tell, but I can't tell too much. So I'm going to shut myself up.
We currently have 3 people who need love. So Green Zone has not got any love. Nightwolf needs some love. What's going on with Nightwolf? Like, it's supposed to be just like a slower than White Ash. What's going on, Rob?
We're honestly on par from where we were last time. So, I mean, it's...
I'm not happy. It doesn't matter whether or not you're happy, Rob. Charlie, you guys are just well, I'm really... And Night Wrath, like our other night book, nothing. What's going on?
Guess it's last couple of days until it might pick up again because before this we started the stream tonight. We had like 3 or 4 pledges in relatively rapid succession. And they were decent sized pledges. Actually, I thought earlier today we were going to be in our first negative day because of a cancellation. Then just slowly picked up. So you never know.
Well, I'm going to show, just because I haven't yet, this cross promotion. So if you back me, and if you're following this, you probably know me because it's on my stuff. So let's see. It's probably easier to show on mine because it's at the bottom of your page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. No, that's not it. Hold on.
That's a crossover.
That's a crossover. So look at this. Look at it, all its majesty. All its majesty right there.
Mm-hmm.
Right, mushroom in the corner, just like I requested. We've got a He-Man print right there for crossover if you get both. Like, this is necessary.
Pretty cool.
Fish, check private chat, by the way.
Oh, all right.
So we need some love over here because you guys need this.
Yeah, even Travis and I are both like, we want shirts of this.
Right. You're at 332. Yeah, I think we can make this a shirt. We just got to figure out how we're going to do it.
Right.
We've got it. We got it. I'm excited. But yes, I want a shirt of that. Hi, December. What's going on? How are you? December is a great indie promoter. She does a lot of stuff. You guys don't know her. Always friend her, and she will. And you tag her and stuff. She'll share it out, which is really cool. She's a wrestler, former wrestler, which is awesome. So if you guys don't know her, now is the time. And do you have 150 backers yet, Water Wars?
I am checking it right now. 148.
That's a problem. No, I can't afford to give up any of my money, my pay to your awesome things. Sure you can, Kat. Sure you can. Sure you
do it.
And Charlie has joined us back. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, how you doing? Kids are now somewhat asleep, or at least in the other room with the door shut and locked. I mean,
Yeah, so's my wife.
You locked him in the room?
no, I wish, like back in before times, before people went to jail for those things, this could happen. But no. Instead, they basically have the run of the house and do what they want.
And they wake
And
up
I
in
am,
the middle of the night.
yeah, I am the servant that comes in and does the nighttime routine, and then I am dismissed. So I've been dismissed.
So I need a vote here, and Charlie can't vote. Should I put Charlie on the spot? If you want me to put Charlie on the spot, raise your hand. Charlie, I'm sorry, I didn't want to put you on the spot, but
it was a close vote. I see that, and I appreciate it.
Could have gone either way.
Could have gone either way.
So, Charlie, I tagged you. So, I don't know if you know that when we funded, we announced that we're going to do Cthulhu Invades Neverland.
Yes.
Now,
I
and
saw
you don't
that.
need to answer this publicly. You don't have to answer this publicly, but I have 5 slots. So I made a rule, and I want you to know how important you are to me as a creator, because I love White Ash. I have 5 slots that I'm going to invite pros, people who are killing it in life, like yourself, who I'm going to invite before I invite anybody else, before I put open submissions up. And you are one of those 5. So I would like to formally, for the first invite, this is the only one I've done so far, invite you to Cthulhu Invades Neverland.
So thank you. I'm incredibly honored. I do want to give you the opportunity to rescind the invite that you've now so generously given, because I do want to preface my knowledge of Cthulhu is very small. So
Tentacles.
if I was going to do this, I would have to do a lot of research into what Cthulhu was besides the covers of the books that I have backed.
Well, that's all you need to know.
well, then I'm good. Then I'm all in. But if you want someone who is,
there's a Lovecraft wiki that you can get all the information.
There's a lot of
because I'll be honest, I've backed Cthulhu campaigns before, and I've backed other campaigns before, but my to-read pile is very thick, and I'm sure no one else here on this chat has any Kickstarter books that they haven't gotten to read, or any books from their they haven't gotten to read.
Of course
I'm sure you guys are all caught up.
Camera away from the
and I'm the
stack over
only
there in
bad
the
person
corner.
here.
Right.
So Travis, like, I am totally on board with helping you with whatever, but I do want to preface it. You're asking someone who knows very little about the subject matter you would like them to write. So I'm putting you on the spot. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yes. I have made worse decisions in life,
right.
good sir.
All right.
Here's
He invited me.
and Charlie, I was going to invite him to last one, but I heard it through the grapevine that you had a bad, not necessarily a bad, but anthologies got stressful, and you're like, maybe I'm going to take a break for a little bit.
No, I don't know if that was the right thing to hear through the grapevine. The thing to hear from the grapevine is I've only done one. It was a good story that we did, and I was like, maybe you want to quit while you're ahead, right? Go out on top,
right?
Like the camp, it was a great anthology. There was a lot of great creators involved, so it's like I don't want to take that good experience and go to someplace else and have these high expectations.
Right.
But seeing who you assemble and the kind of books that you do, it makes it a little bit easier to say yes. But in general, I don't do anthologies. But I would love to be part of anything that you're doing.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So officially what he's going to write, who he's going to write, we'll figure that out later. But we have our first on board with Neverland.
Congratulations.
Wait, it's also about Neverland, because you didn't say that part. You just said
Cthulhu. Yeah, it's Cthulhu Invades
Neverland.
Okay.
Do you know anything about Peter Pan?
Listening. Who? Yes. I know. Like my son is a big Disney fan, So we've been through all the permutations of everything that's Disney related. So like and he likes to see the different versions, the Disney version, the non-Disney version. So yes. And as a kid, I had the French version. Yes. I had the French version of Peter Pan that I would look at and not understand. So I am there.
All right.
Sick.
So, and I'm going to be honest. Let's do something else here. Let's go through the room and tell me how much you know about Cthulhu. And we'll start at Tim, and we'll go up. How versed are you in Cthulhu?
Well, at this point, I'd say pretty versed, but let me quick explain why. I had it in my head that I wanted to try and get into anthologies at the beginning of the year, and we pretty much drew a target on the Cthulhu is hard to spell. And the reason why I say this is one of the things, I'm a writer, of course, by trade, right? And like I say, some of this publishing and venture happened accidentally. I'm really just trying to write stories. So I start with the script, but I had a problem because I didn't know anything about Lovecraft at all. I should say I knew about the mythos and all that kind of thing, but I think probably most of us would agree it's a pretty dense read. It's not something you're going to sit down and breeze through a couple of chapters. It's just the way the guy writes, right? So I picked up my knowledge from a book that was written by Alan Moore called the Neo Nomicon. It's his takeoff on the Necronomicon, and it's essentially the graphic novel adaptation of the Lovecraftian tale. And I got to recommend it the most strongly. If you've ever read Lovecraft and said, look, I just can't get through this text that this guy is spewing out, which a lot of people say, quite frankly. But this is a way that you can sort of absorb it, and it's put together a little bit like in the format of like what a horror movie would be, where it's a little bit easier to follow. Are there any Alan Moore fans in here?
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about taking that class.
Yeah, I thought about that too. Have you seen the Neo Nomicon?
I have not.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's the one. It was really controversial because it's got the usual Alan Moore type scenes. But
so it's an Alan Moore book.
Right, yeah. If you had the complaints with his early ones, you'll have the same complaint with this one. But it's really easy to get into, and essentially the plot of it is a detective team in Chicago or something is trying to crack these murders, and it turns out it's the work of this Lovecraftian cult. So in my case, for writing the story, it was really just a matter of trying to blend the aesthetic with our own. It's a sci-fi aesthetic, as you guys know, in our short story. So it was really just a matter of blending the two. But I be quite honest with you, I was not that well versed in I knew the mythos better than I knew the material, I guess is how you would phrase that.
Nice. All right, next, let's do Abby and LK. What are you guys at?
We're not separate people?
Well, you are separate people.
No!
And we're done tonight, guys. Thank you so much. I was thinking that she wrote it, and then I don't know.
I have to study too. I gotta know what they look like.
Only Abby then.
Yes,
I don't care what
the
LK
emotional
thinks.
feels
I
about
don't
it.
care.
Remember
You're
we
right.
had this
LK's going to go
conversation?
to the bottom. I'm going to move her up here. Abby, what did
Wait,
you know about?
were you expecting us to like speak at the same time? And
I was thinking about your story.
One does half the sentence, the
That
other
was my
finishes
thought.
it.
Be like the
he's
twins where
the
they
writer,
speak
so
in
you were
unison.
expecting her to speak and me to draw.
Yeah,
Maybe.
you're to bring the words to life. Maybe interpretive dance. Whatever you can do in this book.
He's like,
I liked it when we were on Blake's and he was the guy getting all the problems because
he's giving you less
You
notice.
let me
Watercolor
come
now.
here. You let me come here.
well, you burned down your house to help the campaign. I mean, I got to give you credit.
Lots of stuff happened that week. Flooding, burning, shooting, lots of stuff. I live in New Mexico. I know a lot about the mythos kind of because I've read about it. I've definitely read some of the H.P. Lovecraft stuff. But also I've like ingested a lot of like culture that has come from H.P. Lovecraft. So I don't have time to play the games, but I will watch other people play like video games that are from that that culture and like learning a lot about like the things, like at least the thought process, right? Because I work on emotion. I work on emotion. My life is powered not by gas, by emotion. So so I've just like ingested a lot of that through it. So I like to take that and put it into the work that I do. And if LK could finish my sentence, that'd be great.
No, we're still on you.
Y'all had to be separated for cheating on each other.
Okay. All right. I'll accept that answer.
Is that not a good answer? Is that a B- answer?
Well, I wanted to hear game titles. I was excited.
Oh, game titles. Bloodborne for one. Okay. I've spent so much time listening to people talk about Bloodborne. There's a whole bunch of them right now. There's also that movie Underwater with Kristen Stewart that doesn't really, it's kind of like Midnight Mass where there's no vampires. Like there's no Cthulhu in Underwater at all. Nothing like that. But there's definitely like a lot of that influence in it. Gosh, I can't remember some of the names of them because some of them were just like indie titles that I don't know. I watch a lot of video games. Sorry, I have to look at this later.
Do you watch play? Or you watch Twitch? You watch people play video games like the?
I usually like watching like YouTube so that I don't have to wait for them to talk to their viewers. So that I can just like get it. And then sometimes I listen to lore videos on stuff like that. I like hearing the creation of and what they got all of their ideas and stuff from. So
all right. Well, we're gonna go to Rob, but I want you to know, Abby, I value you as a creator, as an individual.
Thank you.
Before we move forward. Rob, I do not, but continue.
That's why when he asked me to do my story, I thought he was slumming it. So,
well, I got Charlie now. You're definitely not getting the next one, but continue.
Fair enough. I mean, there's a good trade-off. I mean, you definitely won in that bet. Yeah, so the first time I ever even heard of Cthulhu was in South Park. I mean, in all seriousness. So from there, like I was like, oh, what is this? And then like all of a sudden I see it coming out of the woodwork all over Kickstarter, all over, video games like Abby was talking about. I mean, it's everywhere. And so I'm like, okay, what's this? And, me being the curious feller that I am, who refuses to read a lot of novels because of my dyslexia, I, just picking up the different comic books and Kickstarters that have the mythos, their, the creators' takes on them. And, and Tyler's C is for Cthulhu kind of gave me the kids' ABC version of it, right? So that's kind of like my collection of thought on that, and a big influence that I could tell when I was playing Skyrim, Elder Scrolls Skyrim. There's a Daedric god who is very similar to like the Lovecraftian mythos, and so I really dove deep into that storyline, and I could see like the similarities into that, the driving people to madness and all that, the tentacles and the floaty eyeball things, and then watching Lovecraft County was another one, like knowing from that. So when I was, when you had asked me to write the Bandersnatch, I'm like, okay, well, what do I put against this feral beast that's practically unstoppable and fearsome in Wonderland, right? So as I was going through it, I looked at the different creatures in the mythos and thought a Shoggoth was probably, it was more than a match. So how could I make that entertaining as well? Because, being the Shoggoth being able to take the different form and kind of stand up to the Bandersnatch, and then also having like, basically it's like Superman, having like one or two different, weaknesses like kryptonite and like a red sun kind of a situation. So I kind of had to learn more about what made this thing tick. And as I had said earlier to Charlie, that there's a Lovecraftian wiki that you could learn about all kinds of, like these creatures and all the different things and how they're connected to this universe in short enough bursts that I can actually decipher it with, my reading skills. So yeah, so that's to me, that was my extent in doing research and figuring it out before I wrote the story.
Fish.
Like most comic enthusiasts and geeks and nerds, absolutely not. Not a freaking clue. I know the derivative stuff. I know that there's tentacles and madness. I know what I've seen from other things and other media, but like, no, I'm not going to read that. It's far too good for me. Like, I couldn't get through Tolkien. He drove me freaking nuts when he spends an entire page talking about the way dude looks and the hair on his feet. I can't do that. That takes too freaking long. My brain runs way too fast. I can't do it.
Video games, man. Video games.
But like most other comic enthusiasts and nerds and geeks, I usually will pretend like I do because I don't want to be argued at by another nerd saying how I lose my cred because I haven't read it, even though he hasn't read it either. He's just got some way to attack me now. And but yeah, no, I know just the derivative stuff about it, but at least I'm honest about it.
Hey, no, I'm just trying to show Charlie he's not alone. So you
absolutely not.
Yeah,
I was
we've got a good support group started here. I'm taking notes. There's a wiki. Alan Moore.
I am so proud of him for being honest and saying that, because like there's a lot of times I've just tried to fake my way through something just to not get that angry nerd fire coming at you from somebody. The indignant, like when they find out that you haven't read Lord of the Rings, people will freak out on you. And I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, that is a red line, and I think we need to ostracize you for that.
Hey, if that's what gets me ostracized, it could have been worse.
I'm not gonna lie, those are the only novels that I think I've actually read all the way through, and it was because I forced myself, and it was like a labor of love. But I remember falling asleep to those things more than 1,000 times.
Yeah, I don't want it that bad. I don't.
So, Fish, I think you need to buy a domain name because your stuff is super hard to find. The Green Zone stuff, like you
go MrFish.com. I'll take you right there.
Well, you might want to buy the Green Zone. I think it's available. Let me see.
I think it's expensive, is what it is.
Yeah, that's kind of like one of those like premium.com.
Like Go Fish. Go Fish would have been easy. Go Fish is available, but you can rent it for like $3,000 a month or something, and I ain't doing that.
Hey, y'all, I gotta head out though. The wife's already texting saying it's bedtime. And
good night, Rob.
Let me check. Let me see if you got any backers. You have a backer.
Ooh, nice.
Yes. 334, 12, 22. All right.
Oh, we have two new backers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's two from when we started.
I was gonna say because it was at 332. I thought it went 333. Then we're half the beast.
Yeah. Good job. Well,
all right. See you, Rob. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. See you later. Night.
Yeah, Phil's on the show. He hasn't talked yet, but he's there.
I was being polite. Everybody was talking, man.
Kat, you're in the group where the link is. You can come. I'm not going to send it to you. You got to find it.
You know how that goes. Just like me, it's like, oh, here's a link. I'll click on it. Oh, hey, I'm in the show. How'd I get here? What happened?
All right, Daniel, you got to go, right? You said 20
minutes? I'm about to I'm halfway to crash here.
All right.
I will say that I do have a collected works of H.P. Lovecraft on my bookshelf over here, but I'm still not as versed as some people are out there. But like with my story about this little guy, I went more with the cult angle with the Cthulhu mythos than the actual monsters. Right. I thought that would be more kind of an interesting story to take an angle at. But I know a good part of Lovecraftian lore and Lovecraftian's life. He actually lived here in Brooklyn for a short time when he was married. He didn't like it, unfortunately. He was not a fan of New York because he's a racist, bigoted asshole.
Well, based on what he writes about Mass, he doesn't like Mass that much either. I'm just saying.
It's like if you weren't a wasp from Providence, you were a horrible person, and yet he marries a Jewish woman from Brooklyn. So,
well, you got one backer. They only gave you $1, so normally I'd stick you around and make sure you got more. But
I got work in the morning, and
well, you got $1, so $1's good.
Yeah. Night, guys.
Good night.
Nice. Good to see you, Daniel.
Let's check on other people.
All right.
Cthulhu Invades is Cthulhu's hard to spell. Got
We did
3
go up, yeah.
backers. All right, that's what's up.
What's up?
It went from
Hey.
38,000 to 240 to 38,584. So it is killing it. Let's see what else.
I believe that, like basically the appropriate response for that conversation should have been, if you want to know more about Cthulhu, you read Cthulhu Invades Oz and Cthulhu Invades Wonderland, right?
There you go.
Like
See,
that's really the
thinking
textbooks I
right
should be
there.
writing down.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Kat.
That is a
Hey,
smart
guys.
thing right there.
Hey.
So White Ash has got some love. Somebody gave some love to White Ash. We were
Always
at
appreciated.
42,682. We're at 42,713, which is fantastic. What's the higher backer count? Not the money. What's the higher backer count that you got? Because I knew you were over 1,000 the last one, right?
I did 1,700 and something backers the last one out.
Wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
That's a lot
It was
of
crazy.
packaging.
Yes, it was, and I did every single one myself. And I was also really kind of foolish about it because I thought for one of my stretch goals I would send out the catch-up packs early. So I had all these hardcovers, so I actually added an extra like 300 shipments because I sent those 300 out, and then I did everything again when the comic was printed. So yeah, shit. But you know what? Like as problems go, like having the problem of having too many shipments to send out is the best one you can possibly have.
Yeah.
So no complaints.
Yeah.
I just happened to skim over the Green Zone, and it's got some love. It got 2 backers.
Oh, good deal.
It's at 2,332. So that is
Good
great.
deal.
These are
So
good-looking
Phil
books,
and
Travis.
Kat, go ahead and say. Oh, Kat, okay.
Yeah, because I got moved around a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you want to talk about Cthulhu?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What do I know about Cthulhu? This is like semi-involved.
Yes. Sorry.
I was going to say, is that an ice cream truck? It is miles away.
I like how LK was looking for it, even though she was like, "Those aren't my
No, it's not
sounds.
mine.
I'm gonna go."
I do that in grocery stores when people's phones go off. I'm like, that is totally not my ringtone, has never been my ringtone.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked in Walden Books out of high school. So I always saw shelf stuff, and there were the H.R. Geiger covers of Cthulhu.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I would never open it because I was like freaking terrified of these covers, or like. Ugh. I also have like really intense dreams, so I didn't like read it. Like point in case, last night I put a cat consciousness into an android who fell in love with Hitler and then tried to kill me because I killed Hitler.
Sure, why not?
That
Yeah,
sounds
I
like
don't
my
know.
dreams.
Yeah. So like I used to get like really bad nightmares, so I wouldn't like read horror. But it's been much better more recently just because I've like kind of watched more, so now I'm a little bit more to it,
Desensitized.
I guess. Yeah, a little bit desensitized. So yeah, I've read a handful of the actual Cthulhu stories. I do have the collected works. I haven't read all of them, and like 90% of that reason is due to time, and also like lots and lots of books, and sometimes overwhelmed of what to actually read next when I do have time. And I've played I've played the board games like Elder Sign, so like I'm pretty used to all like the the names of different things, but not really so much what they look like because they don't show them in the board games. And I have played Arkham Horror, but not in forever. The game that takes like 5 tables if you have all the expansions.
Oh, dang it.
So,
It's so good.
it's really good, but yeah, you need a day at least.
That seems like a short period of time. Something that large.
Well, maybe one day to set
Fast
it up
reader.
and then one day to play. And I did get a list. I made a list mostly of like the characters that were public domain, because it's like after 28 or 29 they're not, something like that. Although maybe that's different now because that was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, the problem when you're doing Cthulhu, just if anybody ever wanted to write anthology, the role-playing games have added a whole bunch of lore and characters, and they're really cool. So you're going to want to use them. If it's too cool, you probably don't want to use them. Like that's how you'll know. Like if it's too cool and sounds too modern, those are the ones you can't use. And there's about 20 good ones there. Am I helping, Charlie? Am I helping?
Sure.
Well, in the monsters, I'll make a quick comment. You know, when we started, everybody sort of had to be assigned their monsters basically in the beginning. And, you know, you look through the roster and there's only one or two that you would recognize from Lovecraftian lore. And what I mean by that, like some of them were gaseous beings was one. One was a creature that was composed entirely of eyes. It was like, oh, most of these don't really translate to a visual story, you know? So that's why we went with the idea of it basically looks like your standard Cthulhu monster, but it's the female version.
Is it?
We did like a Cthulhian based, so it wasn't like, you know, it's like, oh, this looks like this could be in Cthulhu's universe.
That's kind of how ours is
like,
too, yeah.
Go with this idea, and I'm like, hell yeah.
Then we don't have to worry about getting in trouble. So it's
Yeah.
And when you're talking about specifically the Cthulhu Invades stuff, there's a couple of people who will do the heavy lifting on that. You just got to make cool stuff based on whatever character you get. So the way Cthulhu Invades works is you get a character assigned to you and you write a story of that character. And nobody else, most of the time, will have that character. And that's when we had a couple of times where other people needed Alice and Mad Hatter. But for the most part, you get your character and that's it.
Well, that sounds pretty simple and a lot of fun.
Nice. So Kat, how's proofing going?
It's going well. I have one that I need to do tomorrow now that I think I'm past the worst of the cold that never ended. I actually need to do Chuck's Caterpillar tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I'm caught up. So
woohoo.
And now, because it's Chuck, are you extra hard on it to just
yeah. Yeah, like, did you really put a comma there? What is wrong? Like this whole thing, like we have a little chat group, you know, and I said, you know, the art on this is absolutely phenomenal. The writing, you know.
Chris Matt is a good grab. He is a fantastic artist.
No, I skimmed it. And I was like, the art on this is absolutely fantastic.
One of the things that I've loved about this book, and Phil can kind of speak to this, is the ability for the colors to go wild, right? You can go wild with the colors because of everything, which I think is really, really fun. You know, when I look at this, vibrant colors on every page, where if you're setting in an old setting like a modern setting, you don't really get all those cool colors, you know, like LK's fan, like you're in a mansion, like mansions have kind of certain color scheme, you know.
Unless it's a Barbie mansion, which then has a certain color scheme, but a certain different
because it's a very specific.
Oh my god!
Oh man!
I'm just seeing Rockefeller in like a totally pink, like Pepto-Bismol pink, blush and bashful mansion. Oh, that'd be beautiful.
And for reference for something like that, Barbie Life in the Dream House on Netflix is amazing.
That really is good.
It's good.
I watched that.
It's a really good show.
I was watching that with a little girl that I babysat, and like she had to go home, and I realized it's an hour and a half later, and I'm still watching.
It's a good show.
Like, it was really good. I was surprised.
You could also come into my living room and get a lot of the same references. Right? My daughter just turned 10, so.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say my bedroom where I live is almost that shade of pink, that Pepto-Bismol pink, and I'm really hoping to get good news this week that we can buy the house that I can repaint that bedroom. It's been 12 years of Pepto-Bismol pink. And...
Oh, bless your heart.
I've got to often, because I've got a 2-year-old, I have to often see how Chase solves the case.
Oh, yeah.
The Paw Patrol is serious business. They've got to dig their way out or swim their way out or whatever they do. Normally, non-violent solutions, which is not the way I like to handle things. I like Spider-Man, like webbing up and fighting, but whatever.
I have trouble with the whole logic of the thing. I mean, who puts a kid in charge of this? And who's paying for the weapons and stuff all these dogs have? Like, that frustrates me, and I get stuck on it.
You're having trouble suspending disbelief there?
No, I can't do it. Like, who put this kid in charge? Who's funding this? The mayor's a freaking idiot. He's not handling the finances. So where's it all coming from? And I can't help but be suspicious that there's like a Lex Luthor that's maneuvering everything in the background, and this is all some kind of wicked experiment.
I am with you, Fish.
It don't smell right.
My son takes all the dogs out. And he's like, "Where's Ryder?" I'm like, "I don't know where he is. Like, where'd you put him last?" But he can't play with the kids unless Ryder's there. Ryder's going to dictate the controls.
Mm-hmm. Though, as much as it bugged me when I was babysitting my older nieces and nephews and we were watching that, I miss it now compared to Coco Melon. It drives me at the freaking wall with my grandkids.
I don't know what a Coco Melon is, but
if you had little babies, you would know Coco Melon because that is baby crack. And they will sit there and watch that all day long. And it's just this little kid, JJ, and we sing about him saying, "I'm sorry," and this, that, and the other. Oh, my God, it's boring.
My baby's 21. I miss Blue's Clues and the Wiggles.
Nothing wrong with Blue's Clues. He's just got a letter. It's fine.
Oh, that whole thing with Steve, a while back made me cry.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And like that was my older kids watching it, but it still made me cry.
Have you seen his like new like TikTok resurgence?
Oh, I just saw somebody stitch to that, and I got all misty again.
Yeah.
When he was like listening to them talk about what they've been doing. I'm seriously fixing to have to stitch up myself.
So Phil, colors.
Right.
What's up with what?
Colors are nice, right?
Yeah. Fun,
Cool.
Got a whole box of 164, so I'm good to go.
You got the good one.
I just hook up the Tesla coils to them, and I'm set.
You don't melt the crayons to make your own colors?
I do what?
Do you melt the crayons to make your own colors?
No, it's the way the Tesla coils when it reacts with the electric spark, and it just kind of melts right there. Yeah, but no, with Wonderland with Cthulhu, I like it because, well, a longer story would be really cool that way too. But the idea of that you have Wonderland so you can go with more of those like more bright colors, but then when you bring in the Cthulhu aspect, you can kind of make things a little more dark and bring in more darkness to it. So you kind of can get a combination of both if you could play off of both of them, depending on what's in the panel or what you're trying to convey in the pages that you got going on.
I think that's why I like this one too, because of the color and stuff. You make it bright and shiny.
I loved your print, by the way, Abby.
What?
I loved your print. You want to show it off? We can show it off.
Yeah, show it off, man.
I don't have it. I just sent it to you. What?
I'll find it.
Oh, no, that print. I'm like, I have a print. You have the Wonderland print.
The Wonderland one, yeah.
Okay.
I think
I don't have that one, so
I don't know.
I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll show it.
I just work here.
But we are almost up on our 2 hours. But I loved hanging out with people. We've gone through emotional roller coaster. We put Charlie has put kids to bed, been put under pressure, and we had a long conversation. I think we've successfully done the night.
Everything happened to Charlie.
We've talked everything from the LGBTQ community all the way up to Paw Patrol. I think we've covered most everything.
World leaders.
Now you guys didn't mention Cthulhu board games. Does anybody mention Cthulhu video games?
Oh. Yes, I did.
Yeah, Abby talked a little bit.
Yeah. Like, let's see, did anybody get? What about Sinking City? Is probably the most recent one I ran across.
Yes.
And
That's one of them. That
of
was one
course,
of
there's
those.
the classic, the Call of Cthulhu. Like that's classic, and hits it best, you know. But
What do we got? This is Abby's work. You guys see it?
Oh,
Oh, cool.
Let's see if we can make it bigger. Not
God,
much.
is that the size I sent it to you in?
No, it's just a StreamYard like does it in its windows. So let me see if I can make it bigger. Tell me, I can't see the screen while I do this, but tell me if it works. Is it making it bigger?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, we just can't
but
see the whole thing.
It's just cropping it bigger.
Okay, but that's all right. I can scroll up and down.
Yeah.
I think it's cute. I like it a lot.
Very cool.
I love the kitty. He has extra big teeth.
So I'll share a story. I don't know if other writers have this problem, but prints are the hardest thing for me. I don't understand them because they're not something like when I get them, I was like, oh, that's neat. Here, you go into this envelope of other prints that I think are neat. And then that's the end of their life. Now and then my wife goes, can I look at that folder? And then she'll take them and put them in a different folder. It doesn't really do much. It just moves from one folder to a different one. And then if I don't like your print, it goes someplace else. I'm not going to be mean, but it just
A different receptacle.
They just disappear.
Right.
And it's seen about as often as the other ones in the folder.
Right. But you go to conventions. You were at WonderCon, both of you guys this week. There's walls of prints that people want in mass things. I don't understand prints. So when I posted the pinup previews on Cthulhu, they were like, "Can I buy them?" I was like, "I don't understand what we're doing here. They're pinups." Go ahead. Abby.
My walls are
Pinup
full.
is poster.
Mm-hmm.
Poster.
Well, I understand that much. Yes.
Poster.
Yeah, my walls are full of prints. There's like half of them, half of my walls are prints, and then the other half is like semi-fine art, by which I mean they're also prints, but like there's a couple of originals and then a couple of prints. They're not like super expensive fine art because I don't have.
Yeah, I just buy that like sticky glue, whatever the stuff that you can remove because I live in an
Poster
apartment.
putty? Like poster putty?
Yes.
yeah,
Poster putty, and then I leave them in the sleeves, and then put them on my walls.
Oh, yeah.
My
it's
son
easy for
loves.
me.
He's got a whole. We bought him a big portfolio because most of them are like 11 by 17.
Mm-hmm.
So we bought him a portfolio to put them in, and he collects them at every show we go to. For me, I'm kind of like Travis. Like I'm like a carpenter at the furniture store. I'm like, I can build that. I can do that myself. And I mean, it looks great, but I'm not going to spend money on it most of the time. But then I'll try and put a couple out to make some money when I'm done.
To be fair, I do frame most of mine, and then so they all have a nice little theme. And I hate it when I get off-size prints. Like I'm like, give me a print that will fit in a standard frame, so I don't have to pay to get it matted.
Yep.
yeah.
That's why I just leave them in the sleeves.
Absolutely.
Basically,
I
my
What do you got,
general rule
can't
is
afford the frames.
if it's a woman and it's not sexy and empowered, my daughter gets it and she puts them up all over her room. And like I love finding the good ones that I can give to her and try to get her hooked on comics, like as this gateway drug. So right now, like she's got these Boston Metaphysical things up. She's got Tracker from Ron Randall. She has
Nice.
Soulstream. I don't know if anyone knows Seda Wolf, who was actually at WonderCon. She just turned 18, but she did a graphic novel that Scout put out that she wrote and drew. So she's got like all this Soulstream stuff up. So that's what I love. And then anything else I'll show to my son. And if he wants it, he gets it. And otherwise, then it's filed away.
I don't frame all the prints. There are like, because half of them are in a box.
Yeah, I've got I have my studio, and the walls in there before I started packing things were it was literally wall to wall prints. And then I have a box still of the ones that aren't. But I frame all of mine and hang them. But I reached a point where I just said I'm out of space. So unless it absolutely blows me away, I just can't do more art. My problem is I don't know how to sell prints.
Yeah. Phil, what do you feel about prints? Where are you at on the print situation?
Me? Oh, I've done that a lot when I first started tabling before I was even working on a lot of books. I worked with other artists and we do one-offs. And that's how I basically started, and it's like, okay, we both have access to it. We can both use it. That was generally the agreement. And so when I do shows, most of my table was nothing but prints because, I work in digital. So it's got to be, it's got to be printed out. So, yeah, prints I've done quite a bit of. I've worked different ways with it where I've done from try to make them more affordable to ones that you want better. Like I'll do the simpler, almost like floppy kind of print, that you could roll up. And I put a cheaper price point on that. But then I'll also make prints that I will do on like around 80-pound test or paper, that's like rigid and stiff. And I put it on archival paper with archival inks so it can last a little bit better and something more that you keep for a while kind of thing,
I respect people who can actually do prints. I do them, but like kind of half-ass. I'm a crafter. I do ceramics and stuff like that. So my table is always filled with all of the things that I've made.
Right.
So like when I do prints, I have to format them, and then I have to make sure that the printer is formatting them correctly, and then I have to pick the paper, and then I have to wait for shipping, and then I have to contact them if they're wrong. And I don't like any of that. So
a local printer?
No, there's no. I live in New Mexico.
Yeah,
Do you have dust bunnies here?
Phil wanted to show this, so we'll figure this is his colored job, which is pretty cool. He did this for
I like that one.
pages. So
you want
it? I like it.
There are local printers here, but like I am so about like presentation that it's got to be perfect. So that becomes a problem when I'm formatting. So I just give up.
Oh, shouldn't give up on print. Once you get down just the basic format of what they want, what color profile they want it in and what size and the file type, you should be good to go.
See, Leanne would never buy from me because I don't do normal size print stuff.
If I really, really, really like it, I will. Okay, it's worth getting the frame or like whatever,
Like the size that I send you every month is the size that I sell the most at my table. I sell little 4x4s and then I print them on like paper that looks kind of like watercolor paper because I do watercolor for most of my prints. So
see, that's one thing you could do if they're that small too and you're doing prints. You could print on take those, print on an 11 by 17 sheet and just have them tiled, have duplicates, and then cut those all apart, and you could have a bunch of little mini prints that way.
Then I have to cut them.
No.
I'm sorry. I hate to complain at everything.
Oh, you're adding to the list of things.
Danny, Phil wants you on a collective project.
Thank you, Phil.
Well, if they go together, you don't have to cut them.
Exactly. Yeah. No, you're right. I know. It's just formatting is just my brain.
See, this is why I make Joel do it.
I'm so glad that like all of the anthologies that Leanne has chosen have had their own
template
formats for the pages because holy shit, like I usually spend like an hour trying to figure out the ones that don't have a format.
I don't know what Phil is sharing here, but I guess I'll share it, but I'm scared.
It's scary. Well, it was. It's Cthulhu related, so I figured I'd bring it up. And since also I worked on this with Warren Brown, which is actually
I do like Warren Brown, so we'll share it because of Warren Brown. But you're on thin nuts. You're on notice, sir.
We're doing Atrocity is putting together a horror anthology, so we ended up doing a 5-page.
You said horror.
Horror.
I'm so sorry.
But here's just a peek at one of the pages that I figured might have that more of that Cthulhu feel for you, so you could check that out.
Nice.
That's sick.
He is like really ripping that carpet up. I'm like, that's a lot of carpet
That's a
to be
lot.
like.
That's a lot of carpet
Wow.
to get a hold of.
Yanked off by the tentacle beast. You might have a tendency to do that, you know.
Yeah, I'm sitting here thinking, man, they didn't not put enough glue down under that carpet.
Yeah.
It's coming up like that.
Not even on a green carpet. Like I want
That is
to see
old loose carpet.
Is he a avid golfer? And he's like, I need a green carpet. Like I need to be on the greens at all times.
That was it. Yeah. Well, he just has poor color choice decorating color choices when he did the house up. You know,
It's really thick shag, and he's just leaving lines in it.
Right.
My mom used to have to rake it when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh, I remember doing that too.
We're gonna wrap this baby up because it's midnight for people on the East Coast, and we have children. We're gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna go around the room. You can say what's up. We got backers for everybody, so congratulations. Make sure everybody got a backer, which is great. That's what it's all about. I'm a little upset that Green Zone is so hard to get stuff. We got to figure out a way to get more people to figure out his link. But what I'll do is
GoMrFish.com will take you right there. I think because Mike wrote it with a capital Z in the middle of Green Zone as one word, that's making it hard for people to find, I think.
I blame Mike on most things, so I agree.
I'm not positive, but I think that because the green zone and then the colon and then the life, they're all like, there's no spaces. And I think
it could be. Like I said, I didn't set that up.
But even if
I did everything else, but I didn't.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, even if you copy and paste it, it doesn't come up. Oh, it does.
I did try Green Zone colon life, and that came up in Kickstarter for me.
Yeah. If you type it in, I stand corrected. But anyways, all right, let's go around the room. LK, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay. We're talking about where people can find us, right?
Where people can find you. Yep.
All right. On the internets.
Okay.
Done.
At Headless Gnomes, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and headlessgnomes.com. Also, if you go to fangsandfoulplay.com, you can sign up for my newsletter, get issue 0 for free.
Awesome. Mr. Fish.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I'm Mr. Fish Comics everywhere on the TikToks and the Instagrams and the Facebooks. You can go to MrFishComics.com. You can see more about Green Zone, see more of the story. You can sign up for my newsletter, get the preview copy of the book, see what it's about. And GoMrFish.com will take you right past all the confusion with the name to get to Kickstarter. And it's nice and easy. Check it out.
All right. Charlie.
I'm pretty easy to find. I'm at Charles Stickney on Twitter, and I'm at White Ash Comic on Instagram. So find me there. Anytime you have a Kickstarter campaign going, I love to try to retweet people and boost them. So please hit me up.
Tim.
Excellent. I'm Timothy Fling. You can find me on Facebook. Also, my website is earthdogstudios.com. Or you can Google me pretty easily by looking for the Water Wars, and it'll probably lead you to me eventually. I do Instagram and Twitter too. I'm just starting to get a little traction on Twitter, so I'm trying to utilize that. There's so many platforms. I got to find out which ones are performing the best for me. And for the first time, I picked up some backers from Twitter, and I've even got on a couple of the Twitter podcasts. So my guess is next time around, you're going to see me emphasizing Twitter.
All right. Abby.
I am color wired everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, colorwired.com. That's all.
All right. And she's an individual person, people.
I am.
She is.
I'm just
is.
one person. I am only color wired.
Yes.
No.
Don't go to color wired because that's a different person. Wired with a
There's
D.
no S at the end.
There's no S. Sorry, Phil. Phil.
Oh, I did. All I heard. That's all I heard. Yeah. I'm Phil Liot. I am mainly a colorist. I also do editorial and pre-press work. You can find I do sequentials, covers, cards, stickers, all the good stuff. You will need colors on it. I'll throw it down there on it. I'll throw those down on there for you. You can find me at easiest to get hold of me is at Phil Leon on Facebook, but you can also find me either under Phil Leon or Philman X at anything from ArtStation to Twitter to Instagram, which I'm trying to update. I've been away from Instagram for a minute. But yeah, if you want to follow me, see what I do, or you need to hire me in for a project, you can find me there.
All right. Kat.
All right. I am Katrina Rotes. For those who don't know me, I am an author, editor, proofreader. You can find me on Facebook under Katrina Rotes. That's ROET as in Tom, S as in Sam. Let's see, Instagram is Life with Katie. My website is lifewithkatie.com or catsfreshpress.com. And you can find me on Twitter under @Katrina Rotes.
And I am Travis Gibb. You can find me at CthulhuInvades.com because that's all I care about right now is working on that. If you find me other places, you've gone the wrong place. Go back to CthulhuInvades.com. That is where I am. That is the only place I am. And I'm on some podcast every night. So just find me there. Just search YouTube until you see my face and just message if you need me. All right. So we're going to do the outro. You got something to say, Abby? You look excited.
No, I'm always excited.
Oh, Abby has a Patreon too.
Patreon?
I have multiple Patreons though, so yeah.
Oh.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm only subscribed to one.
Oh, well, thank you.
You got to subscribe to a couple more.
I guess so. Yeah. You can find them.
Do you want to plug your Patreon?
It's Color Wired. My main one is Color Wired. For the webcomic that my sister and I are working on is The Crystal Keep, but this is about comics.
All right. I'm going to do the outro. I want to talk to LK, Tim, and Fish. Anybody can stick around, but I got to talk to you guys real quick about some stuff. All right. But I'm going to do the outro, and good night. Thank you guys for coming out.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Nice to see you guys and girls.